Hey there, fellow time travelers. Ever feel like, time is just this like river just sweeping you along?
It really is something we don't think about much, is it?
Not really.
Yeah.
So today we're going to really dive deep into this whole idea of time. And we've got some amazing thinkers to help us out. J Krishnamurti, Osho, and Acharya Prashant.
Three very different perspectives, but I think that's what's so great about this.
Right. We're going to be talking about some pretty wild stuff like ending time.
Living in the now here.
And even seeing time as like dissatisfaction.
Buckle up. This is going to be a journey.
I'm ready.
So let's kick things off with J Krishnamurti. He really throws down the gauntlet with this question. Can time actually end?
Whoa, ending time. That's a big one.
Right. It sounds almost impossible.
It does.
But Krishnamurti points out that we're often trapped by the past, living in what he calls 1,000 yesterdays. All those memories, experiences,
Always we're carrying all this baggage around with us.
Exactly. And it shapes how we see everything, even the present moment.
So how does that connect to ending time though?
Well, Krishnamurti sees time not as a straight line, but like a cycle. The past, the present, the future. It's all intertwined. It's all right here, right now.
So it's all happening at once, in a way.
In a way, yeah. And if all time is already present, well then maybe a big enough shift in our thinking could break us out of that cycle. He called it a mutation.
So it's not about stopping clocks or anything. It's about changing how we relate to time.
You got it. It's about realizing that we're not really bound by time, but by our own thoughts and perceptions.
That's deep.
It is. Krishnamurti really challenged us to pay attention to how our minds are constantly clinging to the past, projecting into the future, and missing out on the now.
Oh, that makes me think about meditation and mindfulness. Is that kind of what he was getting at with this mutation idea?
Absolutely. He was all about self-observation, paying attention to your thoughts and feelings without judgment.
Yeah.
By doing that, we start to see how our thinking is kind of limited, conditioned by the past. And maybe, just maybe, we can open up to a whole new way of experiencing reality.
Wow, that's a pretty big challenge. Have any of you out there ever felt like you were totally free from the pressure of time? Share your thoughts down in the comments. We'd love to hear about it.
Definitely. And while Krishnamurti's approach is super deep and introspective, Osho, our next thinker, well, he brings a little bit of playfulness to the table.
Oh, I like the sound of that. Playful, indeed profound. Let's hear it.
Right. Osho is all about living in the now here. He believed the present moment is all we really have.
It's true.
And that if we're always dwelling on the past or freaking out about the future, well, it just robs us of joy.
I've definitely been there, stressing about things that haven't even happened yet.
Oh, totally. He even had this great saying, man goes on desiring, planning, worrying about the future, and God goes on disappointing him.
That's kind of funny, but also so true. It's like we're setting ourselves up for disappointment by pinning our hopes on tomorrow.
Right. He actually told this great anecdote about 3 philosophy professors who missed their train because they were too busy debating the meaning of life.
Oh, no. They missed their train.
They did. And, the irony being that they were the ones being seen off.
Oh, man. That's such a good picture of how we can get so lost in our heads that we miss what's right in front of us.
Right. And so Osho's point is, by fully embracing the present moment, the now, we actually create a better future. It's not about ignoring responsibilities. It's about approaching them from a place of awareness.
So it's about being present in the moment with whatever's happening.
Exactly. And Osho believed that's how we tap into our true potential. It's how we create a life that's full of joy and meaning.
I like that.
Yeah, he saw all that planning and worrying as ways to avoid dealing with the present moment, which, sometimes it can be uncomfortable or challenging.
So true. It's easier to get lost in our thoughts than face reality sometimes. Makes you think, how many times have we missed our own train because we're too focused on the destination?
Right. But speaking of different perspectives, our third thinker, Acharya Prashant, well, he has a really unique take on time. He sees it as dissatisfaction.
Time as dissatisfaction. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
He connects time to this fundamental separation we experience between ourselves and the world around us. He says time comes from this feeling of incompleteness, this constant striving for something we think we lack.
It's like we're always chasing something, always feeling like something's missing.
Exactly. It's like a child wanting a bigger bike, then a car, then a bigger house, always on to the next thing. Acharya Prashant would say it's that feeling of me being separate from everything else that creates the experience of time.
So it's more than just wanting stuff. It's a deeper sense of lack within ourselves.
You got it. He uses this really powerful image.
Yeah.
Every interaction creates a ripple effect, like throwing a stone into a pond. Each action, each relationship creates change. And, well, that change is what we experience as time.
Wow, so time is like a byproduct of our interactions and the changes they create.
Exactly. And he believed that the key to transcending time is recognizing that this separation, this me versus everything else, is an illusion.
It's all connected.
We're not actually separate entities, but expressions of the same underlying reality.
So if we can let go of that feeling of separation, we can let go of the experience of time.
That's the core of his teaching.
It's a lot to unpack, but it's definitely making me think differently about time.
Me too. We've covered so much ground here. Ending time, embracing the now, seeing time as dissatisfaction.
Three totally different lenses, right?
It's amazing, isn't it? And now that we've gotten a taste of each perspective individually, I'm excited to see how they connect, what happens when we put them side by side.
Yeah, let's compare notes and see what emerges.
All right, so how do we, tie all this together? At first glance, Krishnamurti, Osho, and Acharya Prashant seem to be coming at time from, completely opposite directions.
Yeah, ending time, the now here, time is dissatisfaction. It's a lot, but I feel like there's some common thread here somewhere.
I think you're right. What's interesting is they're all pointing towards the same goal, freedom from time, even if the way they get there is different.
Freedom from time, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah, so Krishnamurti's ending time, it's not about literally stopping the clock. It's about going beyond that mental trap of past and future.
Right, right.
And then you have Osho's now here. It's all about the freedom that comes from, just being fully present in this moment.
I could see that.
And then Acharya Prashant comes in and reminds us that, a lot of our struggle with time actually comes from a deeper feeling of, incompleteness, something's missing.
It's like they're all saying, hey, time itself isn't the problem. It's how we relate to it that messes us up.
Exactly. And, if we zoom out a bit, we see this isn't just about, time management or productivity hacks. We're talking about a total shift in consciousness.
Oh, okay. A total shift.
Yeah, realizing that we're not just passengers on this river of time. We're actually shaping our reality right here, right now.
So we have more control than we think.
Way more. Each of these thinkers is basically giving us tools to break free from that pre-programmed script of past and future.
Okay, I love that. But how do we actually put these ideas into practice? It's one thing to understand them in our heads, but how do we actually live them?
Well, I think it starts with awareness,
Mm-hmm.
Krishnamurti would say. Pay attention to how your mind gets hooked by, all that conditioning from the past.
Yeah.
Osho would say, notice when you're planning or worrying just to avoid being present.
Mm.
And Acharya Prashant would say, take a good look at that feeling of dissatisfaction, that sense of separation that's fueling your struggle with time.
So it's like an inside-out approach. We change our inner world, and then our experience of time changes too.
You got it. And it's not like a one-size-fits-all thing either. What resonates with one person might not work for another.
That's what I love about exploring all these different ideas. We can kind of pick and choose what works for us. Right.
Totally. So, as you're listening to all this, what's standing out for you? Which perspective is really speaking to you? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments. We'd love to hear what you're thinking.
Yeah, great question. I'm also curious about the practical stuff. If time is an illusion, as these guys are saying, how does that change how we go about our daily lives?
That's a really good question. It's about bridging that gap between theory and practice,
Totally. So how do we do that? How do we bridge that gap?
Well, Krishnamurti, he was all about cultivating a state of what he called choiceless awareness.
Choiceless awareness. Okay.
It doesn't mean becoming passive. It means responding to each moment with, clarity and intention, not just reacting out of habit or based on the past.
So instead of just reacting, we pause, we become present, and then we choose how we respond.
Exactly. Osho, on the other hand, he would say, celebrate the present moment. He often talked about life as a dance and how we should savor every step, every breath, instead of rushing towards some finish line.
It's about finding joy in just being alive.
Yes, exactly. And then Acharya Prashant, he'd say the key is to break down that illusion of separation. He said, when we realize we're all interconnected, we naturally go beyond time into what he called timeless completion.
Timeless completion. That's such a beautiful idea.
Mm-hmm.
Our sense of self just expands to include everything, and then time becomes irrelevant.
That's it. It's not that time stops existing, it's that it doesn't have that same power over us anymore. We're free to create, to love, to really experience life without being chained to the past or the future.
This whole conversation has been so mind-blowing. It's like a whole new way of seeing time and life itself is opening up. But I do have one more question. It's a big one that's been kind of nagging at me this whole time. So we've been talking about ending time, embracing the now, and seeing time as like dissatisfaction.
Yeah.
But if time is really an illusion, like these thinkers say, does that mean we can actually change the past?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Right. It's kind of mind-blowing. Like, if past, present, and future are all connected, can we really go back and change what's already happened?
Well, I think it depends on what we mean by change, you know?
Okay, yeah, good point.
Like, obviously, from a practical standpoint, what's done is done. But these thinkers are asking us to consider maybe our perception of the past isn't really the past itself.
So we might not be able to change the events, but we can change how we feel about them, how we see them.
Exactly. Krishnamurti, for instance, would say that our memories are always filtered through our current state of mind. All those emotions, regrets, unresolved stuff, it colors how we look back on things.
So by working on our present consciousness, we can actually transform our relationship with the past.
Exactly. It's not about erasing the past or pretending it didn't happen. It's about letting go of that emotional charge we've attached to it.
This makes me think about Osho and his emphasis on acceptance. He talked a lot about embracing the past, the good and the bad, as part of our journey.
Absolutely. And Acharya Prashant might add that our fixation on the past often comes from a sense of lack in the present.
Like we're trying to hold on to something.
Yeah, like we're clinging to past experiences, trying to get something from them that we feel is missing now.
So by finding that sense of wholeness, of contentment in the present moment, we can let go of the past a bit.
Exactly. It's not about denying the past. It's just recognizing that its power over us comes from our attachment to it.
That's actually really freeing. Like we can heal our relationship with the past and actually create a better present. Maybe we can't time travel, but we can change our internal story.
It's true. We're not just products of our past. We can also choose how we move forward.
Wow. This whole deep dive has been incredible. We've gone from ending time to embracing the now, to seeing time as dissatisfaction, and now to like potentially changing the past. Has been quite a ride.
It has. And we've just scratched the surface, really. These three thinkers offer some really powerful tools for breaking free from time.
Big thanks to J Krishnamurti, Osho, and Acharya Prashant for their wisdom, and to you, dear listener, for joining us on this journey. We hope this conversation has inspired you to think about your own relationship with time.
Definitely. And remember, the exploration doesn't end here. Keep questioning, keep reflecting, and discover the boundless possibilities that exist within and beyond time.
And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and leave a comment below with your own reflections on time. Until next time, happy exploring.